Athens' glorious history dates back more than 3,000 years, making it an emblem of Western civilization at its finest. During classical antiquity, the city flourished, and it was the birthplace of Socrates, Pericles, and Sophocles. Today, Athens is more than a vestige of its great past. It is a vibrant and modernized capital city with some of the country's most prominent tourist attractions. The Acropolis is one of the most beautiful ancient ruins in the world, and the city's excellent museums house remarkable antiquities discovered at nearby locations. The city's brilliant Byzantine churches and the village-like suburbs north of the Acropolis are two other hidden gems waiting to be discovered. Spend some time getting lost in the Plaka district's small pedestrian alleyways, lined with lovely bougainvillea-draped buildings and pleasant restaurant terraces. When you've run out of things to do in Athens, Athens is a very different vacation experience than the picturesque Greek islands. During the summer, it might feel frantic and crowded, but in the spring and fall, the weather is still pleasant and there are significantly less people. Let's explore the best places to visit in Athens. 1. The Acropolis. Athens' Acropolis is a fortress located atop a rocky hill at the city's highest point. Without a doubt, it is the most impressive site in Athens, if not all of Greece. According to UNESCO, which has designated it as a World Heritage Site, it is the most exquisite architectural complex from Greek antiquity. The Acropolis has enough to keep you occupied for a few days of strolling and exploring. Just remember that because it's uncovered, it can become really hot, so bring plenty of sunscreen and comfortable clothing. This Athens must-see destination has a huge list of things to do. The Parthenon Temple, built in the 5th century BC, should be your first stop. It's a well-preserved temple and a popular tourist attraction in Athens and the Acropolis. Other noteworthy temples on the Acropolis include the Aegean and the Temple of Panathinaik, as well as the Dionysius Theater at the foot of the hill. Take a tour around the Acropolis Museum before or after you explore the citadel to discover more about this remarkable archaeological monument. Stay in an Airbnb nearby with a view of the Acropolis if you can't get enough of this site. 2. Mount Lycabettus. Another wonderful sight to see in the Greek capital is another hill. Rather than being known for its man-made marvels, Athens' highest peak is covered in pine trees, making for a cool and refreshing trek on a hot summer day. If a stroll sounds like too much effort, the hill also has a funicular train. This will relieve the pressure on your legs while allowing you to take in the breathtaking views all the way down to the sea. This fantastic Athens hotspot is not to be missed. See if you can find your hostel from the top, as there are plenty of wonderful hostels in Athens to choose from. At one of Athens' greatest sites, there are a slew of things to do. A walk or a ride on the funicular, as we've already indicated, is a terrific way to take in the sights on the way up and at the top of the hill. Furthermore, one of the best restaurants in the capital is located atop the hill. Stunning sunset views along with delectable local and traditional cuisine make for a wonderful evening. You'll want to include this on your Athens agenda, especially if you're seeking for something romantic to do as a couple. 3. Panathinaik Stadium. It's impossible to visit Athens without learning that it is the birthplace of the modern Olympic Games. What could be better than witnessing the original stadium, the world's only one made entirely of white marble? However, the stadium's history dates back much further. On the ground where the stadium now stands, there have been sporting events since before Christ. It was also the first site to play the contemporary Olympic hymn, which was a great sporting achievement. The Panathinaik Stadium also hosted the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens. Take a stroll around the stadium and admire the world's only marble stadium's magnificent architecture. If you're visiting Greece in November, be sure to watch racers cross the finish line of the city's marathon. The Panathinaik Stadium now serves as a music venue in addition to hosting sporting events. So, if you're looking for Athens vacation ideas, take a look at who's performing. Perhaps you'll get the opportunity to watch one of your favorite performers in an exciting and spectacular setting. 4. Syntagma Square. Syntagma Square is the heart of Athens and a significant site. Syntagma means constitution in English, as that's where the first king of Greece, Otto, gave it in the 19th century. It now serves as the seat of the Greek parliament and houses the country's royal palace. But that's not all. Syntagma Square is a hub in Athens with plenty of restaurants, nightlife, and lodging. In reality, the majority of the city's 5-star hotels are clustered around the square's perimeter. It's a fantastic spot to eat, but be aware of tourist prices. There's enough to keep you busy for half a day along the perimeter of Syntagma Square. A great number of cafes with outside seating are ideal for enjoying a drink, reading a book, or simply watching the world go by. It may seem strange, but the square's metro station is also worth a look. Why on earth is that? Workers unearthed one of Athens' most important archaeological finds while digging the station's foundations. As a result, some of that is visible as you pass through the station. 5. Temple of Hephaestus and the Agora of Athens. We've grouped these two together because they're so close. Before or after a visit to the ancient Agora, the Temple of Hephaestus is a must-see. This temple is sometimes missed among the capital's many gorgeous and well-preserved temples. It's a surprise why, given that this is one of the most comprehensive in the city. Visit the Agora, which has undergone little restoration so that you can envision how the ancient marketplace looked in ancient Greece's glory days. There are a few things to keep you busy for at least half a day here. In addition to viewing the Temple of Hephaestus, the Stoa of Attalos is another remarkable structure that has been carefully preserved. This structure dates from the Hellenistic era. You may learn about the importance of the Agora not just in ancient Greece, but also in Roman and Byzantine times. 6. Kyros Cemetery. Kyros Cemetery, which is breathtakingly lovely, is a victim of a city with so many archaeological sites. You might be lucky enough to have this cool area almost to yourself if it's not overshadowed by more glamorous attractions like the ancient Agora or the Acropolis, especially if you aren't going during peak season. Kyros, Dionysius' son, is honored in this cemetery. He was a potter's hero, and the Latinized word ceramic is derived from his name. You might believe that because it hasn't been improved, fewer tourists visit here. You'd be mistaken. Well, there's also a museum in addition to the well-kept cemetery. It's dedicated to ceramics, as you might expect. After you finish visiting Mykonos, go to one of the surrounding cool local hangouts. In the adjacent Syria and Gazi areas, you'll find some of Athens' top restaurants. There's also a hammam nearby where you can relax with a Turkish bath. 7. Plaka and Attica. The scenic Plaka suburb, located between the northern slopes of the Acropolis and Ermos Street, is a popular tourist destination. The pleasant village atmosphere is the main draw of this ancient area. Beautiful bougainvillea-trimmed pastel-painted houses, cafes, and stores adorn the Plaka quarter's narrow pedestrian streets and bright tiny squares. Historic churches, such as the Metamorphosis Church in the southwest and the Church of Kapnikaria in the north, are tucked away in quiet corners of the area. When you've got your fill of ruins and museums, a leisurely stroll in the lovely landscape is the ideal way to unwind. There are several classic Greek restaurants with pleasant patio seating in the Plaka area and surrounding Attica, which are snuggled into the slopes north of the Acropolis. In the evenings, Attica's winding medieval streets are also a treat to explore. Nearby, on the hillside, are calmer streets that conceal beautiful tiny cafes and eateries. 8. Panathinaik Stadium Church. The Panathinaik Stadium Church, which is in a little plaza that opens into a pedestrian-only portion of busy Ermos Street, is a beautiful spot to explore and a site you are likely to go through. This church is a magnificent example of Byzantine architecture from the 11th century, and it stands in strong contrast to the modern buildings that surround it. It was preserved from demolition in the 19th century because to King Ludwig I of Bavaria's assistance. Domed cruciform churches, like this one, were common at the time. A magnificent entry portico and a narthex with 4 pediments were added to the church in the 12th century. Built onto the western end, the inside of the church is adorned with 19th century paintings in the Middle Byzantine iconographic style. 9. Areopagus. Just northwest of the Acropolis, there's another huge white protrusion among the pines and cypress trees. From the Areopagus, you may overlook the port of Piraeus, the Acropolis, and Athens' northern quarters after taking care on the slick marble steps. And, as part of the classical city, this rock has a lot of myths attached to it. One is Ares' trial for the assassination of Poseidon's son Halorothius. Before Ephialtes introduced reforms that deprived the city council of its power in the 5th century BC, Areopagus was the site of the city council. It remained Athens' major homicide court after that. 10. Theater of Dionysius. The Theater of Dionysius, which initially hosted performances in the 6th century BC, gave birth to European play. It was the first theater ever built, carved into the steep southern slope of the Acropolis. Although many improvements were made later in the Roman period, The current design dates from the middle of the 4th century BC, when the statesman Lycurgus controlled the city's finances. The Dionysia festival, which was attended by dramatists like Sophocles, Aeschylus, Euripides, Menander, and Aristophanes, was held at the Theater of Dionysius. It's surreal to realize you're standing on the same stage as all of the classical classics, many of which were performed for the first time.